Good day, you're watching the latest news from Kazakhstan. I'm Askar Sherlief, and these are the top stories for now. The customs union was created, though its code is still being improved. Unprecedented form of protest action was held in front of the Almaty city court. Confrontation between the law enforcement officers and poultry farmers in Pavlodar. Breaking news, an assault was made upon deputy of the local Maslihat in southern Kazakhstan. Sultan Abdraimov was shot from an unidentified weapon and injured with 6 bullets. The official is alive as doctors had rendered him the first aid while local police is searching the criminals. The Saryam Council deputy in southern Kazakhstan region was shot. The victim was brought to hospital by his neighbor. Doctors have extracted 3 out of 6 bullets from official's body, who doctors say was also severely beaten up. Nevertheless, deputy had refrained from staying at the hospital and was released home upon receipt. The law enforcement agencies haven't reported about the type of a weapon the official was shot from. The deputy links this incident with his professional activities, as he has been dealing with landlord issues lately.
At the moment, a criminal case was instigated upon hooliganism using a weapon. The investigation is clearing all the circumstances. As the victim had stated, if they wanted to kill, they could have done so. Consequently, they didn't intend to kill.
On Monday, the Kazakh Penitentiary Committee representatives confirmed that a number of inmates of the Almaty pre-trial detention ward have cut their stomachs open. They emphasized that there are only 6 self-mutilating inmates against 50 reported earlier by the convicts over the phone. The incident took place in the mentioned detention facility of the Almaty last weekend, as relatives of arrested organized a rally outraged by the bad conditions and tortures applied to convicts. As a result, 38 persons were arrested. Details come in the next report.
The penitentiary system representatives claim that the situation in the Almaty pre-trial detention ward is quite stable. On July 30th and 31st, the inmates of the facility, as well as their relatives outside of its building, organized a revolt. According to the penitentiary committee official Irina Yakupova, the instigators were established and 3 convicts sentenced for felony were already conveyed to the prison.
We're dealing with an action very well planned by criminality. It is very sad that they have speculated over the feelings of mothers and relatives.
On July 30th, the convicts of the Almaty first pre-trial detention ward started calling relatives, claiming that the mass self-mutilation was taking place in protest of the facility administration's tyranny. As a result, about 60 people gathered in front of the facility building, demanding to give them access to their relatives to be assured that they are okay. The incident at the Almaty pre-trial detention ward is the 6th case held in Kazakhstan prisons since summer. According to the Human Rights Protection Bureau specialists, the criminality is keen on reacting to such situation, and if one riot happens in one place, it quickly reaches the other places. Victoria Tulenova suggests that the actions may be caused due to different reasons, including fair or unfair, and it's often impossible to establish the true reasons in the end.
Convicts or prisoners sometimes hold similar actions demanding to improve their detention conditions, and sometimes to change the detention regime, or even to replace the administration of the facility too. So the bad conditions may be the true reasons. However, sometimes they cover up by that to reach their own purposes.
38 people amongst the convicts' relatives picketing the detention center's building on Saturday were arrested and later released. Administrative cases were instigated against 19 of them for holding unsanctioned rally.
Although the customs union is believed to be working, its core regulations still are being edited. After listening to complaints of entrepreneurs, the Customs Clearance Agency officials suggested to improve the document jointly. So far, the monthly function of the customs union produced no results, but only caused stress for both officials and businessmen. Next report has details.
The Customs Clearance Committee had organized a meeting with entrepreneurs in Almaty on Monday, during which both officials and businessmen admitted that the customs code adopted in a rush was an expression of political wills of Kazakhstan, Russia and Belarus. The main obstacles are ahead, say experts, as the business activities will renew after summer slowdown.
We now need to decide what we're going to do in autumn regarding the new customs union code, what to propose to authorities.
The Customs Clearance Committee official had answered to questions for 3 hours. It appeared there is no universal notion of the situation. Businessmen are experiencing problems with documents as customs have different requirements. Even the cosmetics products were subjected for taxes as spirits for containing alcohol.
We often face problems with Belarus as they still observe their own laws, which still don't comply with union regulations.
The union of the three is working for a month already. However, there are controversial opinions about its benefits and efficiency. So far, this has been a stress for both businesses and officials from all three member states.
The project wasn't discussed preliminary. Now our entrepreneurs are sustaining losses. All ongoing negotiations are not about protecting our interests, but demonstrating of loyalty towards Moscow.
The customs specialists believe that the code must be improved and therefore are going to make their own input in its enhancement. It appears that today it's impossible to solve many issues on the level of one state. All the initiatives will be discussed in the Union Commission's work session to be held in Moscow in August.
Yesterday, the Kazakh government finally reacted to the interest holders on the 18th day of hunger striking. However, the statements made by the construction committee officials made earlier didn't satisfy the protesters at all. According to Tikhanyuk, nowadays the interest holders are fully protected by thematic law, which was adopted last year. In particular, no state project will be allowed without design and estimate documentation anymore. The law implies returning money to interest holders in case of project suspension or closure. However, the situation with solving the current problems of interest holders was not commented. People are outraged that they were ignored again, as they weren't allowed in the press conference blocked by special unit police officers. On the 18th day of hunger striking, the interest holders have organized their own press conference to which some high-ranking officials, including Prime Minister Masimov, was invited to. However, none of them showed up.
We would like them to formulate their position clearly, as we are confused. We attempted to enter many times, and Mr. Tikhanyuk had promised to come out and talk to us when the session is over, but it didn't happen, and instead they are hiding behind the police cordon.
Another protest action involving some irony and subtext was organized by journalist Zhanna Baitelova in front of the Almaty City Court yesterday. Activist poses a question who the judges really are and proposes possible answers to it.
Journalist Zhanna Baitelova has conducted an extraordinary protest action near the building of the Almaty City Court.
This is very smelly menu.
On July 27, the judge of the Almaty City Court, Gulistan Azbayeva, refused to satisfy the petition of Baitelova against the chairman of the Senate, Kajumurat Tokayev, head of the parliament, Ural Muhamedjanov, and Prime Minister Karim Masimov, who have signed a law on the leader of nation. The journalist demanded to recognize the actions of high-ranking state officials as illegitimate.
This is a special greeting to the judge of Jetesu District Court, Almas Ramazanov, and the judge of the City Court, Gulistan Azbayeva.
During the protest action, Baitelova has also expressed her discontent over the legitimate court decision over the human rights defender Evgeny Zhovtis, chief editor of Almaty Info newspaper Ramazan Sergepov, and the former head of Kazatomprom Mukhtar Jakishev, and over the newspaper Respublika. The members of the city court have not reacted to the protest action.
The bad governments and dirty rivers have always many that comes up from the bottom. This is why I decided to cover it in the court resolution. This is my protest.
Judge Gulistan Azbayeva refused to comment on the Baitelova's action. Zhanna, who have collected the menu on the outskirts of Almaty for the whole week, is confident that her action is absolutely correct.
Almaty City is preparing to host the Asian Winter Olympics 2011. However, some residents of the city do not seem excited about the event. $724 million were allocated for Olympics-related constructions, but those living in front of the central stadium think their premise is being reconstructed with violations of their rights. The protest letter was forwarded to the city mayor's office. Next report has more.
Almaty residents Lyudmila Fokin and Valeria Staheva are delivering the anti-Asian Games letters to the mayor Ahmed Janisimov. They are asking the mayor to save their house from collapse. It was planned to reconstruct their house by the time of Asian Games 2011, as the main objects of the Games, represented by the Central Stadium and the Sports Palace, are nearby.
All these constructions are located right above our house, and they can collapse at any moment as there is no reinforcement below.
они могут обрушиться.
Sergei Novikov also does not understand why his house became the victim of the Asian Games. He shows 20 tons of construction material stored on the roof and waits for the trouble, as the house was not prepared for such loads.
The multi-ton weight on the ceiling plus the filling is made of concrete with reinforcing steel, and all this is fixed not on the bearing wall.
The man lives on the top floor and shows that part of the ceiling has already collapsed.
The construction workers have displaced air bleeds and air vents in the kitchen.
The construction of the mansard on this old Khrushchev-time house is being carried for already a year. The construction company Chandos Art informs that Asian Game is branding project and that it has all the permits for the coating of the garret. However, according to the law, each and every resident of the house had to provide his or her consent for the works, but they claim that they have not signed any documents.
If the residents are against, no one will conduct the works.
The residents of the house have already lost their trial against the construction company at the district and city courts. However, they are still not intent to become the victims of the Asian Games. If the Almaty authorities will fail to stop the Chandos Art, they will appeal to the General Prosecution Office.
Law enforcement officers attempted to enter the local poultry farm by using force in Pavlodar yesterday. The farm management had owed the security agencies that employed some $27,000 and seemed not going to be covering its debts. In the meantime, the enterprise workers also have not been paid salaries for already 3 months.
Снимай, еще раз говорю, с камеры снимай. Меня не надо снимать, меня не надо снимать. Не надо снимать, убрал. Сними, я тебе руки убери, снимай. Снимай, убери.
This is the Pavlodar law enforcement officers attempting to storm the poultry enterprise in order to conduct the property inventory. The farm owes the payments of the 2 security agencies services in amount of $27,000.
We're not invading, we need to invent it. You're not allowed in, you're resisting, aren't you? Yes, I am. Our lawyer will arrive and will handle it in a civilized way.
This is the second visit of the law enforcement officers to the farm located in Kiziljar village. During last visit, they have confiscated a tractor and truck. However, it wasn't sufficient to pay off the enterprise debts.
The total amount of debt is $27,000, and as you can see, the machinery is an illiquid asset, so we can sell and forward the money to claimants.
In the meantime, it became known that the poultry farm had owed its own staff, which pay back since May. However, the employees do not approve the property arrest, as they fear to lose the only job available in the village.
They started paying us in pieces. Last week we got paid 40% of our salaries. We don't know when we get the rest, but it's not right to take away the property, as this is the only job we have, and what will we do if we lose it?
This is not the first scandal at the mentioned enterprise, as 1.5 years ago employees have complained about a similar problem. After previously the situation was explained by the poultry farm management as a consequence of the global financial crisis, this time it refrained from commenting it at all.
These were all the latest updates for now. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.